Okay, everybody, let's take a look at two really cool satellite wave citizens using the F900 module. So, for some reason, I have not just one of these, but two. Well, they're different watches. You can see the one on the left has these green accents. Yeah, sorry, it looks like my camera is struggling to autofocus. Like with one object, it does a pretty good job, but with two, it wants to do the background. So we'll 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 split the screen. We'll go back and forth. This one over here, you can see has these green accents and the mode dial, the 24-hour dial, and like the first half of the day here. It's a little, I guess that's Sunday is marked green. And this one we see is orange, kind of the same sort of things. But there's a lot more to that, the differences between these two, and that one of them is steel and one of them is titanium. So my very rough breakdown of the satellite wave goes that in 2011 they came out with the F100 movement, and that's in a bunch of watches. That's a time only, or time and date rather. It's not a chronograph. And around 2015, they came out with the F900 movement, and that's the one in here. And it has the same GPS syncing abilities, but it's a chronograph as well with these subdials. And sometime between then and now, they came out with updated versions of both of them. There's the F150 and the F950. And I think they sync with GPS a little quicker and the hands move a little faster. But I mean, the hands move very fast on these, I think, as you'll see. So these are still pretty modern current watches. This is the CC9030, and this is the CC9020. There's some other watches in this line. There's another steel version that comes on leather. I think it's like black leather. And there's at least two other titanium versions. There might be this also on leather, but then there's another CC9020 something like 9025. I'll try to remember to put that in the description. But that one's black IP coated, and all these all the text is white. And then there's another black IP coated one with a really nice blue dial, and that's limited edition. So just the one steel version plus the one with the leather, and then there's those special versions in the titanium. Um, I yeah, so I love titanium watches. They normally make a watch feel pretty light. This watch is pretty big. Certainly, the steel watch, it's a heavy one. You definitely feel the weight wearing this. Actually, I'll put it on a second. This is my other Citizen, Citizen Tough, really cool watch. I don't mind a watch that's a little heftier, a little larger, but these are pretty huge, and you definitely feel the weight. I don't think it's a bad thing. Some days you want that, like for me, like on a nice diver. 7.5 inch wrist. It's not so terrible at all, really. Some watches are a statement piece, much like a Seiko that I've reviewed, and I don't know if I've released that video. Similar design. Hey, I have it right here. Similar, similar styles, but this is a radio atomic. This one is satellite wave. So this one's a big, meaty watch, pretty heavy. And at this size, titanium really helps, really cuts down on the weight. On a smaller titanium watch, they feel lightweight, almost like you're not even wearing them. But on a watch like this, it doesn't feel light necessarily. It doesn't really feel like you're wearing a light watch. It just feels like you're wearing a normal weight watch. This just feels kind of like a normal size. It's so big that even though it's titanium, it still has a normal weight. Like you need titanium to get down to normal weight. But both of them pretty cool, and both of them pretty sure the exact same functionality. The only difference is the price is this one cost more, and it weighs less. Sorry, I don't have a scale or something. You could look that up. Plus it's how to feel it. They both have heft, but the one on the right feels like, I don't know, a normal watch heft, and this one feels like it's really freaking heavy. That's the only way I could kind of describe it. Let's get some dimensions in, and then I'll explain how it works and what satellite wave really is. So I'm going to exclude the pushers here, and it's 47 mils wide. It is 15 thick, so that is a pretty thick watch, and lug to lug 52. So a big watch for sure. I'd say it feels maybe only a little smaller than that. Sorry, I'm not holding this correctly. It feels a little smaller than that, but it feels big. I think because the bezel is so large, it is one of those slide rule bezels that one day I will never learn how to use. Not that I don't want to. It's just I guess I don't want to. It's cool, and I think if I were a pilot, you could I think you have to learn that. Anyways, but that bezel takes up a lot of space, and so the watch has good separation. Sometimes it feels crowded, but for some reason it doesn't once you know what you're looking at. So let's describe what's going on here and how all this works. So the crown is not screwed down. Oh, how much water resistance does this have? That'd be an interesting thing to know. Maybe it says it on here. Yeah, 20 bar. So it is a 200-meter water resist watch. That's pretty cool. So I guess how to say, this normal time mode, you know what the 3 normal hands mean. That's kind of self-explanatory. This subdial here, you have the indicator pointing to the day of the week, and it is indeed Thursday. On the bottom here, you have a 24-hour clock, but you can change that. You can change that to a second time zone, completely independent of your normal time zone, or you could set it to UTC time. So that's nice and flexible, obviously your date window. And then you have this mode dial. Before we get to that, I'll say the way these buttons work, I think is really, really clever and really, really simple. This pusher up here, if you press it just once, you do a quick check of 2 things. You saw how fast those moved. This indicator here is now pointing to a battery gauge. So that's low and that's charged up. So it's mostly charged. It's like 80% full. And the seconds hand moved over here. See how fast they all move? And that moved to the time zone. So that's NYC. That's the Eastern, Eastern time zone. Really, really fast. Press it again and it goes back to the time. So it's like a quick check of battery, quick check of what time zone you are in. So this pusher has everything to do with the GPS location. So if you, in case you don't know where you are, that'll tell you where in the world you are. Not your coordinates, but you'll know your time zone at least. And this pusher down here quickly sets to, you see the second hand is now pointing to the words OK. All that means is that the last time this tried to sync with GPS, it worked. It was OK. If it didn't, it would point to no. Now, so that's a single push on these is like a check. A push and hold actually tries to synchronize. So in case I didn't mention for whatever reason, and if not, I apologize. This is a satellite watch. It will listen to GPS satellites and find out where you are for the purposes of finding out the time. There's no way to know your actual coordinates with this, but programmed into the watch are time zones, which by the way do change, and I don't know if there's an easy way to update, a country can decide it's in a different time zone. I think you could send it into Citizen and they'll update that table. But it'll know what time zone it is in, and in case you didn't know, GPS satellites all have atomic clocks on them. So anywhere in the world, not just, you don't have to have your phone nearby, you don't have to be within range of an atomic clock, you can get the actual atomic time. Really, really awesome and straightforward. And by pressing and holding this, it'll find out your location, what the atomic time is, and based on your location, it'll set the time zone. The one thing it won't set is daylight saving. It has no idea. The GPS system doesn't have that built into it. This button down here, I can press and hold because it's kind of fast. If I press it once, it does the check. If I hold it, now you see it says RX time. That means it's receiving time. OK, which means it got the time, which means it synced up with a GPS satellite. And now I'm looking at atomic clock time right now. It's really, really straightforward, really nice and simple. Much faster than atomic radio, and even faster than Bluetooth, I think. I can't imagine what the F950 is like. That must be lightning fast. So somehow I'm already at 10 minutes, so I'll kind of blaze through this. If you pull this out one position, now you can adjust the mode dial here. So you have an alarm. LLI is like a light sensor mode. So if I go to that, like the closer I put this to a light, I think I might have to press a button. Yeah, so I'm in light sensor mode. So if I shine a light on this, that dial goes up. When I take it away, it goes down, goes up. I don't know what LLI stands for. Low light indicator, light level indicator. I'll go with that. So you have all these different modes. I'm not going to go into set mode or alarm, but you can set an alarm in this. Chair mode is not chair mode. That's chronograph mode. And when you go into that, you see that register at the bottom kind of spin around. And now it's a chronograph. But because it's fully motorized, you didn't have to have a separate second hand or anything. The main second hand is now used as a chronograph, and there we go. And now we are timing things. It records at least up to, so there's an hour and a minute hand down here, and I think that does the full 24 hours. I'm not sure, but stop, and it will register up to the 20th of a second. So I could resume and continue timing in the background and stop that. And so this hand's not constantly spinning. It only tells you to the 20th of a second once you turn it off. I think that's the most important bit. Yeah, I'll go. There's time mode. UTC mode is puts the subdial into UTC. Time mode puts this into whatever second time zone you want. If you had one of these, you would learn more than that. I've never needed to set it manually. It was pretty straightforward to change SMT, that's summertime, so daylight saving, which is the one thing you need to set twice a year because for some reason we still use that. Anyways, really cool watch. I would recommend anyone who's looking for a GPS watch to consider Citizen and their satellite wave. Casio seems to have stopped theirs. They had one a couple years ago, but Seiko has their Astron, and they look nice, but apparently these are the best. Maybe I'll get my hands on an F950 one day and show you, but they're big. They're both heavy. This one's really heavy, but I think they have a nice charm to them. They look kind of special. And one last thing, turn off the light and do my best approximation at showing you the lume, which I guess I already showed you when I did the light level. I can't make it pitch black in here, but you get an idea of at least what glows and what doesn't. And I would say it's perfectly fair, if not better than fair. I really like Citizen's blue lume. Okay, that is that for the two different satellite wave F900 watches. Thank you very much.